is going on, YouTube family? It is the Washingtons hitting you guys with another video. Today is our home anniversary since we have moved to Alabama. Exactly a year. So we've been here over a year.
Over a year, yeah. We got here last year, about August 22nd.
Yeah, so about a year totally. A year since we moved into our house. Just a day difference. And we thought that we would make a video kind of talking about our move, some things that you should probably think about if you're thinking about moving cross country or moving to a state that you know absolutely no one, you're around no family or anything.
You know nothing.
Yeah, like us and our 2 kids. And then, what, you were pregnant too?
I was pregnant.
Yeah.
Didn't know for sure, but shortly after, yes.
Yeah. No, you knew you were pregnant for sure.
I did in August when we first moved. But I would say like this time last year.
Oh, yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Yes, I knew this time last year I was pregnant.
Yeah, of course. That's right. Sorry. My brain is just all messed up right now.
That's irrelevant. We're talking about moving, not pregnancy.
Yeah, we're not talking about that. But yeah, just kind of going through that, how we felt, how we still feel about the move. It's our first year in Alabama. We've never lived in the South before. If you guys have watched our channel before, I moved from Colorado, moved to Wisconsin in the Appleton, Green Bay area where Chelsea is from to get married. If you guys haven't watched the How We Met video, you guys go and check that out too. Proposal videos on there as well. But anyway, so I moved from, and I'm from Washington too. So we literally went from like Northwest, Midwest, and now further south. So we're kind of like all over the place. We spent 2 years in Wisconsin. She spent her whole life.
My whole life, yeah.
So let's start with you then. So how did you feel about the move? Because I had already made a huge move by myself, so it was kind of nice for me to be able to support you in this move. Mm-hmm. How did you feel like overall with just the move?
I mean, I would start out by saying I think the move to Wisconsin was the hardest transition for you.
Easily.
Like culturally, and then not having any family or anything. And
then taking on a husbandry role and a father role. like
immediately.
That. Yeah.
Even as we were dating almost.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was a huge transition for me to move to Alabama. First of all, Alabama. Never in my life did
Alabamians don't take offense to that at all.
It's not hate. But Alabama was never somewhere that I ever thought I would live.
Yeah. And we're in Huntsville. We're
Alabama. Very north. I don't know if you know where Huntsville is, but it's very north. We're about an hour and 50 minutes south of Nashville. So we're really far up high in the state. So it's not like your typical Alabama like the rest of the state is.
No. Again, that's no offense to the rest of parts of Alabama.
You live in Alabama, don't take offense. But yeah, no, it was a huge transition. Like you said, I was born and raised in Green Bay, Wisconsin. That's where I lived my life. If you've ever been to Green Bay, it's not huge. It's not a tiny little town. It's not like that.
It is smaller.
It's not a country feel.
It's really slow.
Unless you go out into the country land. But Green Bay itself it's on the smaller end, even though the Packers are from there and we're a very small town. So a lot of people know everybody. You know, if you've lived there, I'd say 10 years, or you've at least been driving for 4 or 5, you know pretty much your ins and outs. And then my whole family was there. So coming down here, not knowing anybody, I mean, neither of us knew anybody, but for me to leave family and all that and then still not know anybody was like a double whammy, I'd say, for me. Because I had never been through such a big transition before. Just moving states, but then to move away from family, friends, and literally everything I knew. The only thing I knew.
Yeah. I would literally say it was literally jumping out the nest. Like, she moved out.
Yeah, I've been out
and the parents became empty nesters, but no, moving states was really jumping out the nest.
I flew a year ago out the nest. I just spread my wings and fly.
Yeah, it was so funny. It was an emotional roller coaster just seeing her like one day where she's just like, man, I'm so excited about this move. And then a couple minutes later, she's like staring out the window, like I can't handle it. And I'm like, yo, we're gonna be okay. Like we're gonna get through this. Right. We still have to make our way back to Wisconsin. I know family's gonna be watching this. We have not made it back in a year, guys. An entire year. The year in Alabama though has been mad crazy. But not to jump too far, let's give them at least 3 tips. 3 tips from our experience. If you are going to be moving cross country and you're going to be alone without family or anything like that, we need to give them at least 3 tips of things that they need to consider before they move. Whether it's for a job, whether it's just a life transition, the place you consider, all of that stuff really, really matters. Because what we were thinking about Tennessee at first, we were thinking about Nashville or Knoxville.
Like Franklin area?
Yeah, Franklin area. We really liked Knoxville a lot. But, you know, we looked at upcoming of the city, cost of living, like all of those things. Mm-hmm. What was up and coming in Rocket City was definitely doing its thing. Huntsville, Alabama, we never thought in a million years we'd be living in Alabama.
Yeah. But the more we researched...
the more it was like, it's a great place for you to raise your family. Again, it's up and coming, so there's a lot of construction going on, a lot of building, stuff like that.
But with that being said,
let's go to the 3 because we keep rambling.
Well, for us, I would say some huge factors that played a role in our move was because we're a young family, and I would still say even if you don't have kids yet, if you plan to have kids and you plan on moving out of state, something to look for is family friendly. A safer place to raise your kids, good school districts.
Yeah, education is big here, so we definitely looked at that back
very big. It's an engineering city, so there's a lot of wise people, smart people here, so that allows our schools
at least they like to think so. Ooh. Shout out to church family.
What's another thing?
So you said, what was your number 1?
I said family friendly, safe place to raise your kids, and good education system.
Yeah, just depending on what age group you're in. I mean, you might want something more urban, more young people that are single. So I mean, that's the place that you end up moving is just. That's just based on where they end up moving. Yeah, that's just on preference. But just overall, if you're planning on moving long distance, I would say get as much information as you can. We watched a ton of different YouTube videos, and if you're watching this and you're not a regular subscriber, then you're probably doing the right thing, just getting more information, just speaking about different areas, stuff like that. I think that helps with transition a lot because the more knowledge you have, the more comfortable you'll be in a transition. So build yourself up with knowledge of that area, start learning streets, start learning different cities. So when you have conversations with people in transition and stuff like that, you can kind of maneuver your way around.
What are your grocery store options? Those are important. There are good church options.
I think that takes a little bit longer though. Because, you know, it's kind of hard to look online and do that unless you have someone from the inside looking. But I think your first couple of months, like, you really got to...
plug in.
Yeah. Once you kind of settle down and you're able to focus, then I would say that...
I would say, too,
But I'm saying in the transition, though.
Yeah. I would say even for us, like, if we had the opportunity to... Because we didn't visit Huntsville before we moved here. We legit packed everything up. Put our stuff in my dad's big storage garage.
Yep.
And we drove down in our Jeep and we stayed in temp living. And that was our first feel of the city. And we were like looking for houses at that point. We had not like really, I mean we did before we bought a house. We drove around and we looked at the city and we experienced some stuff. But we didn't visit and then kind of go back home. It's like
which honestly.
Takes a lot of faith.
If we would have done that, I don't know if we would have did it. Because when we looked at a bunch of videos and stuff of Huntsville and stuff, like, there were some things that were very exciting, and obviously everything has good curb appeal when it's on a video, stuff like that. But when we initially drove into Huntsville, coming from where we were used to being.
We're like, nope.
And what we had saw, it was like,
Shannon Sharp, no.
Nope. Yeah, it was like, it was just different. Like it didn't feel very good. And like I was just driving, I'm just hopeful, and I'm just like, yeah, like here we go. And I'm not saying anything, and I'm like looking over at Chelsea, and she's just like becoming more and more discouraged. And I'm like, it's okay. Like we're gonna make okay. I said, remember I told you, like if it doesn't turn out, we'll go back home. Like we can always go back home.
We haven't bought a house yet.
Like we haven't done anything like that. Let's just see how it goes. But after that initial day, though, we really started to warm up. We started finding areas that we really liked.
Mm-hmm.
Huntsville's just very hidden too. So just figure out what type of area you're moving to. Tons of trees here. Things are very hidden.
Yeah.
But we started to fall in love with it after the first day, though. Going over to Whitesburg and eating breakfast and stuff. So we just
found
needed
our
to
little
experience
spots
things.
that we enjoyed. And,
Yeah. So it started to feel a little bit more homey.
We like a little bit more of like a city feel, I think.
Yeah.
Everything a little bit more updated. We're not huge fans on like old rundown, and there's parts of Huntsville that are, and I think there's parts of every city that are.
Yeah.
But like the heart of Huntsville is a little bit run down.
Yeah.
And then
Which they're rebuilding, but
which
it's
they're
like,
rebuilding. So a lot of the newer stuff that we enjoy, like
Very
up and
spotty.
coming, is very spotty. So you kind of drive a little. There's your spot. You drive, But initially, when we first drove into Huntsville, like downtown, we were like,
yeah.
no.
But then we started talking to people, and it just like, I felt at home.
Yeah.
I felt at home. They had great manners. Everyone spoke. Everyone wanted you to come over and eat dinner. That's just Southern hospitality, though.
Like, I think we went into a donut shop.
Yeah.
And she was an older single
She
lady.
actually had the same last name as us.
Yeah. We
Mrs.
just
Washington.
randomly met her. She was super, super friendly. And she's just like, yeah, you guys should come visit sometime. Whenever you want at my house, I'll live right down the road. We're like,
Yeah.
all right. Very sweet, but it's just
okay.
like everyone's super hospitable.
Like, yeah, super welcoming. So that was huge for us. So make sure you choose an area that's going to provide growth for you as well. We've grown so much in the past year. And shout out to Grace Community Church for that too, because we love our church. I don't think anyone that actually goes to Grace that doesn't. But yeah, we learned a lot in that. What's another transitional thing? Consider moving. Let's talk about that. As far as like, are you gonna bring all of your furniture? If you're like us and you already have a family and you have a whole bunch of furniture, and we have basement furniture, we have living room furniture, all of that stuff, and you're just like, is it gonna be worth it to buy a really big truck or hire movers, especially if you're balling on a budget like we were? It's like, yo, do I get a big truck and I just drive all of our stuff down? We don't even know what type of house we're going to get. We don't know what type of style. Is it going to be a farmhouse? Is it going to be contemporary, conventional? Like, you just don't know. Is it going to be century? And it's like, what if your furniture doesn't match? And like, what if we get here and then you're trying to sell it, but this is not an area for Facebook Marketplace and stuff like that? Because we come from an area, Wisconsin was really about Marketplace. Like, Facebook Marketplace is like
popped off.
booming. In like Appleton, Green Bay area.
You can sell a stick.
Yes, and like people are just driving. Like you'll see people driving on the road, and you're like, I bet they're going to work. It's like, no, they're probably going to that garage sale. Like, and they're just like jumping around. Like, I feel like they sell. People do more sales from Walmart. From their garage than Walmart.
You can sell ice to an Eskimo.
Yeah, that's like,
that's what they say.
Like they really do. So you just have to know your area too, because there were certain things that we were trying to sell as far as like business wise, and we're like, this is not working. But I guarantee if we would have put it in a garage sale or a rummage sale, Wisconsin style, a rummage sale, it would have been gone. It would have been gone.
You can pretty much clear out a garage.
Yeah, so
there'd be like nothing in the driveway or the garage, and people still stop.
Yeah,
there's treasures.
No, literally. So like before we moved, we decided to go ahead and sell most of our stuff. Kind of look and combat at pricing and stuff like that, as well as like, hey, how much is it going to cost to replace this furniture? Is it really going to put us in a hole? Is it going to cost double the amount than what we already have? But I think we did a really great job as far as the transitioning new furniture from old furniture.
Well, and a lot of our stuff too, like, it was brand new from the previous house, which it was only a year old. Yeah. So the condition of our stuff was in really good. It was in really good.
And they were really nice. It was really nice.
Yeah,
stuff,
it was solid quality.
Yeah.
And so we were able to get like our money's worth for it.
Absolutely.
Even though it was a year later, we took very good care of our stuff.
Yeah.
And so we got a good chunk back, in which we came short of what we paid for it, but it was still good enough that we could take that chunk of money and buy something here.
Yeah, and we didn't lose.
We didn't lose.
So yeah, that was a great transition. Plus, it lightened our load. Like, no one wants to travel long distance and have to carry a whole bunch of stuff, like haul a whole bunch of stuff.
When you get there, still unloaded.
Yeah, moving down the street is hard enough. Moving 14 plus hours away is
right. And then considering too, my father actually ended up, and my mom drove it down, so we had to consider also, because that was the cheaper route for somebody to drive the truck versus paying movers.
Yeah.
So he drove it down, and we had to think too. Yeah. Well, Malik and Dad are the one.
But we still paid.
Right.
Yeah, but I guess
the less expensive option.
Shout out to Mama and Papa Fez for doing that, because
it would
have been way more expensive.
And then we have to consider, my dad's probably going to be tired by the time he gets here, but we still need all our furniture in the house. Well, then Malik's doing a lot of the heavy lifting by himself because we don't know anybody here. Yeah. So we have to think of that stuff as well. Like, we don't have just people and a bunch of hands to help move all the furniture we want. So we got rid of a lot of that.
Yeah, which our transition ended up working, because then Mom and Dad did get to come down and see the home and kind of hang out with us in that quick transition. So that turned out to be beautiful and pretty heartwarming and comfortable transition as far as that goes.
Because they were already missing us after like 2 months.
Yeah, because we're in that temp living, and then when we moved to our actual house, they got to come out and kind of see where we were. What else? That's 3. I mean, but is there anything else?
I don't know.
Well, the furniture and stuff, I mean, everyone's different though, because some people would say, hey, it's cheaper for me to keep the furniture and just pay for movers to come and put everything in here. I would say that would have been a help. But us buying, we kind of lucked out too, because when we moved here, there was not that much to unload. I got most of the unloading done by myself. Yeah. The only thing that I needed 2 hands for, Dad came out and helped me. But other than that, I got everything out of the truck and everything once they drove it down, pretty much by myself, which was awesome. No one really goes to a move like that. We just had totes too. We didn't even have a bunch of boxes.
We didn't have like regular boxes. We were able to we were able to decrease our amount of stuff. So much so that we just literally had like plastic totes.
Yeah, and we had a 10x10 truck.
Yeah, and we were not breaking them boxes after, which helps in the cleaning up process. We just stacked the totes, and the extra ones that we had, we put the covers in them and we'll put them up in the attic. So
yeah, and then all the new furniture we bought, I mean, the moving company or the people that we bought the stuff from literally brought in the furniture, set it up, and put it where we wanted it. So
right.
I mean, that was probably
they set it up for us, so that was nice, because a lot of times when you move with furniture, you kind of have to break down the tables. You got a baggie of screws, and then you bring it into the house, and you still got to set it up. So that was nice that we kind of missed that whole step. Yeah. And then once we found our house, we were able to kind of shop around, leisurely a little bit, and not feel super rushed.
Before it was time for closing and stuff like that.
Found what would fit our style into the home we were buying, and so I would say that worked for us. Everyone's different, but I would say that was probably the less stressful way to go.
Yeah, I think that was really smart. Also, giving yourself time to, like, if you're moving for work or something like that, I think one of the most beneficial things for us was being able to have enough finances and enough gap to kind of like hang out for a little bit and kind of get well acquainted with the area. Like, we did so much driving to look at different homes from so many different spots, because Huntsville's so spread out. There's so many different areas. So, for that first 2 months, us being able just to drive around and figure stuff out, that was good before I started working.
Yeah.
For sure. Once I started working, it's kind of like...
and experience in the city a little bit beforehand.
Yeah. So just kind of timing that stuff up would be essential.
Yeah, if you're able to, like, financially, give yourself a little bit of exploring time.
Yeah, just to build some comfortability. But I mean, if you're moving somewhere that you've already been, then that won't really apply.
Do not apply.
But be honest though, the transition of moving and not being around family still has been difficult, right? That's why we shot the video on the high alert video about us having our first date after like in a year.
It was a year.
In a year.
Well, because we moved in August. We had a date maybe early August.
Yeah.
And then we moved in like the 20th of August. So yeah, it was over a year.
Yeah. So do a better job of making sure that you start getting in contact and networking and having some type of research as far as like babysitters. I mean, our kids were young though. Like MJ was young. What? When we moved here, he was
like 8.
He was less than a he was less than a year.
He was like 10, 11 months maybe.
Yeah. So like when we were moving to a new area too, and you're trying to settle down as a young family, we weren't necessarily like too thrilled about just a stranger from a new area that we didn't know anything about watching our kids. So it was kind of like we had to really wait until we grew in relationships. We found a church home and we went through the steps, and it was like, well, like geez. And we're still trying to settle down now because you guys already know COVID-19 hit, and the first year was definitely not slow at all. So I couldn't even say that we've got to like enjoy Huntsville.
I don't think so.
So again, our first 2 months here of just being able to drive around and do stuff like that, that was probably the most experience we got.
Yeah, because I mean,
it was good too.
They started working a lot, and
yeah.
So we had weekends, but then we were going to church on Sundays, and you can only build a relationship so much.
In that one day. But our church does a great job of making sure like during the week now.
Right.
You meet with different families and you do things like that. So that's great. Just practicing the one another's.
Yeah. Still takes time to get
it
into all that.
Yeah, because we go to church. We still go to church now, and people will be like, "Hey, so are you
new?
Are you new? Did you just start coming? It's your first time?" And it's like, no. Or we still have some family members that are like church family members that are like, "Yo, I haven't seen you in like 6 months," and it's like, I know because the services, all that different stuff, so it's kind of crazy. But we've been enjoying those relationships. Those relationships in our church has literally made the stay in Huntsville 10 times better, because I don't even know if we would be considering it if not, because not being around family and not having that support for that first year is like
rough.
Yeah, it can be pretty difficult for sure, especially with everyone being so far. Yeah, and then we transitioned from 2 to 3 kids.
Yeah.
2 to 3 kids in
if you watched our hospital video, that was not an easy situation.
Yeah, so everything kind of hit like back to back to back to back, but that's just life. God is definitely going to throw trials out there, and we're going to grow from them. So it's honestly nothing new. He disciplines those who we love. So I'm just feeling loved over here. just feeling so loved. Well, at least he's not silent, We know he's
not at all.
He's moving, he's shaking.
God is not subtle in this season.
He's shaking and he's baking, so that's just what it is. So be encouraged in your trials and stuff as well, guys. Like, you're gonna go through hard times, but it'll pass, and God.
Something that's been coming up a lot.
What's
Sorry,
up?
go ahead.
No, finish. Go ahead.
Is you're here for a reason, not here on earth, but you're in this season for a reason.
Absolutely.
You're going through the trials, you're going through for a reason, and ultimately God will get the glory from it, and that's something that is so tough to hear, especially when things are tough and you're going through the mud. But it's the truth. Yeah,
and just continuing to remember that our stories, our testimonies, and things that we go through is not for us, but it's for others, right? So I hope that as we continue this YouTube channel, our information and things that we go through can be an encouragement to you guys and draw you closer to Christ and His will. I hope that we can continue to preach the gospel as well through our videos as we continue to create hopefully fun content for you guys and content that you can kind of interact with. We want to hear the places that you've moved long distance. I want to hear some of you guys' tips, all of those things. You guys comment, all of that stuff. We like to interact with you guys. That type of stuff gets us different video topic ideas. We want to hear from you guys. We have our emails out there, our contacts, our social media. Like, let's plug. We can be family from a distance. We don't mind that. We want to support you guys as you guys continue to support us. So we thank you guys if you definitely made it to this part in the video. We just want to say thank you for that. But we definitely do want to encourage you through some of the mistakes that we make, some of the life experiences that we go through, because we make mistakes. I know sometimes through social media platforms and stuff like that, you might look at someone and you say, yo, they're perfect. Like they're perfect. Like they're smiling and everything's awesome.
So bad.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things we don't know.
Yeah. And we make mistakes. We're continuing learning, and we want opportunities to learn from you guys too. So feel free to always comment. We always read them. We like to reply to everyone. So fill us up. We want to fill you guys up, and we want to continue to love you guys and each other, all of those things through all the trials of life. So thank you guys for watching. I guess we'll wrap it up right there.
That's it.
All right.
Sure.
Yep. Great.
Awesome. If we need to make a part 2 because there wasn't enough, let us know.
Sure. We talk. Well, let me rephrase it. I talk enough. So, yeah. Is that a sigh?
Breathe.
I think that was a little bit more YouTube family than a sigh.
No.
Sorry, I'll deal with this when we get off. Later.